what's going on, y'all? In today's video, I want to talk about a subject that came up the other day when I was during my training sessions. I train predominantly on my job. I train predominantly middle school and some high school athletes, but it's predominantly anywhere from the ages of 5th through 8th grade. And again, I get some high schoolers in there in between. So the issue was that one of my athletes, who happened to be a 5th grader, was talking to me. He said, "Coach, I got yelled at the other day in gym class for doing extra push-ups," which was the number one issue. Second issue, which I found comical, well, first of all, they were both comical, but the second issue was the fact that a classmate of his apparently fell during recess. Okay, he was running around having a good time in recess, and he fell and cut himself. And now, because of that, because of one person falling during recess, they can no longer run around in recess. Now, I have so many issues with those two things for so many reasons. First of all, as a person in general, when I was younger, I used to fall all the time as a kid, all the time, to the point where my classmates and my friends would stop asking me if I was all right, because they knew if I didn't get up within a couple of seconds or a couple of minutes, I was fine. Otherwise, maybe something would happen, but I would typically get up very quickly. What happens is, when you're a kid, okay, I know today's world is a lot different than when I grew up, and I'm only 25 years old, folks. And for me to have to say that is kind of a shame, but what happened to my athletes is a microcosm of today's society. Because in today's society, everyone is so coddled, and the second somebody does something that makes you uncomfortable, we have to try and fix it and make that other person feel better, right? And people will say, oh, maybe he got yelled at because, his teacher didn't want other people to feel bad that he could do more than everybody else. And if that's the case, and if that's how you feel, I will not agree with you in that situation, because we should never, ever, ever yell at someone or try and punish someone for doing extra work. Okay, that should be praised. And as a strength coach, to have someone tell him that he was going too hard for doing 10 extra push-ups than he was, allotted, he did 20 instead of the 10, right? So I personally was like, that's awesome, I'm glad you did extra. But then to have someone come in and say, no, that's wrong, is the complete opposite effect of what you want. Because what's going to happen is then that kid's going to get into his own head. And he's going to say, oh, well, I don't want to do extra anymore because I don't want to get yelled at. When we're in a world where the obesity epidemic is rising every single day, and people are dying more every day from obesity, and childhood obesity itself is at an all-time high. And now you're going to take someone who's trying to improve themselves and get better, and you're going to take that child and tell him he's doing too much, when that gym teacher has no idea what his capabilities actually are. That gym teacher has no idea what he does when he's in the weight room with me, right? And now you're going to take a kid's self-esteem and have him be nervous about doing work and stop him from doing extra because of everybody else, because you don't want him to push himself when you don't know what he's capable of. And if the other kids in his class who maybe can't do those extra push-ups, that should serve as motivation, okay? That should serve as motivation for them to want to get better. It shouldn't be seen as something that causes them to feel bad about themselves, because if it does, that's on them, okay? We have to stop coddling to the people who accept mediocrity. That is one of the biggest issues in today's world, is that we are okay with being average. And it's so infuriating, because I work so hard to get these kids to feel good about themselves and to build up their confidence and their belief in themselves. And then for something like that to happen is unacceptable. It's unacceptable. And I always leave time at the end of my workouts for kids that want to do extra. Okay, they should want to do more, because that shows me that they truly want to get better. And punishing someone for doing that extra work is absurd. And then the whole other issue of the kid falling in recess, all right, that is what makes you tough. That is what builds your character, doing the extra work, falling and getting back up. We are afraid to fail in this country. I don't know what has happened that failure has now become something that we don't take our own responsibilities for, okay? Somebody doesn't do their homework in school, but for some reason the teacher is blamed, not the student, okay? Somebody gets a participation trophy, which is one of my biggest pet peeves in the world is the participation trophies, okay? But you get that, and it doesn't teach you how to lose. It doesn't teach you about life, okay? When you fall on the ground and you get back up, that means you know, or at least you're learning how to deal with adversity. Like I said, I used to fall so much, and I didn't let it get to me. I knew that was just a part of who I was as a person. Okay, I was so uncoordinated, and my muscles were all out of balance and everything that I was just unbalanced. I used to fall all the time. I used to play sports every single day my entire life. I was always outside. Okay, and that's where some of the weakness in today's world also comes from, that we are always inside, either on the phone, playing video games, watching TV, okay? Kids are not outside as much as they used to be, climbing trees, jumping around, and playing games with each other, and that's where so much of my initial strength was built up, was catching myself, pushing myself back up when I would fall, okay? Learning how to fall and roll and stuff like that, to take the punches and take the impact. And that's what builds your strength. If you fall and you let it succumb to it, then what is that going to teach you? Okay? If you don't let kids run around and be kids, they're not going to learn anything. They're not going to learn how to use their bodies correctly. They're not going to learn what it's like to fail. And we can't fear failure. We have to embrace it, because failure is what teaches us the most about who we are as human beings, okay? The way you respond to failure is the way you're going to respond to life. If we accept failure and we reward those who fail, instead of saying, okay, this is what you did wrong. We may not have come out on top this time, but we're going to fix this and we're going to make it better, okay? If we don't do that, we're not teaching people for real life. For when you get a job or you get fired from a job, what are you going to do? Go complain to the CEO that you got fired because of something you did and expect them to give you your job back? Absolutely not. When you're under that barbell, when you're in high school or beyond, and you fail, at a bench press or a squat or a deadlift, what are you going to just say, oh, well, woe is me. I guess I'm done working out now. No, you're not going to do that. Unless you were taught properly what it feels like to fail. And what it feels like to overcome something that you couldn't do before. I know I'm going off on a rant, okay? But I'm just sick and tired of this coddling, of this entitlement that is happening in this country. And I wouldn't be the person I am if I was treated that way, okay? When I was in high school, when I was working out with my strength coach, okay, I would fail to the point where I couldn't even push myself off the ground at times. I couldn't even get up off the ground and walk anymore, okay? But what he would do, he would pick my shirt up. He would pick me up literally off the ground and say, get your ass off the ground. Let's go. Let's get back to work, okay? And that's the mindset that I have to this day, that the work never stops. You need to put the work in to be the kind of person you want to be a real champion in life. You need to put the work in. You need to be disciplined, and you need to kick everybody else's teeth in that's telling you otherwise. Because if you don't, then you're just going to be another person that's going to fall to the end of the line, the middle of the road kind of person. You're not going to achieve shit, okay? So, to the people who continue to work hard, I thank you, I praise you, okay? Do not let anyone tell you that you shouldn't be doing extra work. Do not let anybody try and lower your self-esteem because you're trying to make yourself better. Those other people who maybe, feel bad because they can't do it, I don't care about them. That's their mindset. Have them be the ones who are motivated because of what you do. You push yourself to the absolute limit, and other people are going to see that and say, wow, I want to be like that. How do I get like that? Okay? Be the motivator, be the leader, be the person that everybody else looks up to, not the person that falls to the end of the road. That's all I have to really say about that. I could keep going on and on about this for hours and forever, but I don't want to make this video be super long. So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it, and we'll see you next time. As always, keep believing.